You are 30 years old. You have a wife who works double shifts and a 4-year-old daughter who needs medical care you cannot afford. The university laboratory smells like ethanol, stale coffee, and systemic failure. A PhD in organic chemistry is supposed to mean stability. It's supposed to mean you aren't choosing between the electric bill and groceries. The university's research budget was slashed by 30% last Tuesday. The department cited shifting priorities. You mix compounds for undergraduate demonstrations, simple, meaningless reactions that produce harmless colors. You could take a second job at a pharmacy, you could sell the car and take the bus. You tell yourself it's just a temporary rough patch, a lie that gets heavier every time you swallow it. A man in a tailored dark suit watches your evening lecture from the back row. He does not take notes. His stillness is unnatural. It is the calculated patience of a predator observing a wounded animal. You pack your worn leather briefcase in the empty auditorium, listening to the silence ringing in your ears. The walk to the parking lot is freezing. The brutalist concrete architecture absorbs the ambient city noise, leaving only the sound of your footsteps. You find a thick manila envelope resting perfectly dead center on the driver's seat of your locked car. Your heart spikes into your throat. The lock wasn't forced. Someone bypassed the security system without leaving a single scratch. The envelope bears no return address, no name, just physical weight. The weight of consequence. You sit behind the wheel for 10 minutes before opening it. The faux leather steering wheel feels freezing under your sweating palms. Inside is a stack of $100 bills, $50,000, crisp, sequential, wrapped in simple paper bands. The money smells like ink, machine oil, and dirt. It is more than you make in a year of grading papers. The sane, rational choice is to walk into a police station. The terrifying truth is that you cannot afford to let this go. Beneath the cash is a single piece of heavy cardstock, a chemical synthesis process, deliberately flawed, waiting for someone to spot the error. A local burner number is written on the back. You put the envelope in your briefcase. You turn the ignition key. You know exactly how to fix the formula. You drive 40 miles into the desert. The GPS coordinates lead to an abandoned industrial laundromat on the edge of town. The building has been empty for 7 years. The county records show it belongs to a shell corporation registered in Panama. The perfect blind spot. 2 men in tactical gear emerge from the shadows. They don't ask for your name. They just unlock the heavy padlock and step aside. You tell yourself this is a one-time job. You fix their yield, you take the money, you pay the hospital, and you walk away. You step onto the main floor. The air is heavy with the sharp, acidic bite of precursor chemicals and acetone. You inspect their current setup. It's an absolute mess. A dangerous combination of amateur glassware and repurposed food-grade equipment. Any idiot could blow this place to ash. It takes a master to realize how close they are to the razor's edge of a catastrophic explosion. You throw their dirty flasks into the trash. You demand new HEPA filters, sterile beakers, and precise digital scales. You take control. The armed men watch you in silence. They don't understand the chemistry, but they understand authority. And right now, you own the room. Outside, the desert wind howls against the corrugated tin roof. Inside, the only sound is the rhythmic mechanical hum of the industrial generators. You initiate the first synthesis. Your hands move with a mechanical precision you didn't know you possessed. The math is beautiful. It is the only clean thing left in your life, a perfect equation balancing out a chaotic reality. The temperature in the primary reactor climbs. The mixture shifts from a muddy, toxic brown to a striking, translucent yellow. You monitor the pressure gauges. A fluctuation of 2 degrees could ruin the entire batch, wasting millions of dollars. If this fails, they won't just fire you. In this industry, a bad cook is a liability. And liabilities are buried in the desert. A phone rings. One of the guards answers, listens for a second, and stares directly at the back of your head. You force your focus back to the process. You initiate the crystallization phase. The toxic sludge begins to bind and purify. The liquid solidifies. Hours pass in a blur of fumes and repetitive motion, until finally the chemical structure is locked. The first tray is pulled from the cold press. The chemical purity is blinding, catching the harsh overhead lights like diamonds. You pull off your respirator. The head guard tests a shard, nods slowly, and hands you a second, much thicker envelope. You are no longer just a teacher. You pay the hospital in full using cashier's checks drawn from 3 different local banks. The debt was crushing, a massive financial weight that simply disappeared in a single afternoon. You tell your wife the university approved an emergency faculty grant for your daughter's treatment. You watch her cry tears of relief, and you feel absolutely nothing but cold, hollow terror. The lab in the desert expands overnight from a single workstation to a massive automated production line. The cartel doesn't ask if you want to keep working, they simply send a car to your house every Tuesday at midnight. You stop grading papers entirely, sleeping during the day, and living under the harsh fluorescent glare of the warehouse at night. 50 pounds a week turns into 200, flooding the northern supply lines with pure, unstoppable crystal. The logic is simple. If you stop now, they lose millions of dollars, and you lose your life. You start checking the rear-view mirror obsessively on the long drive back to the city. A black SUV idles at the end of your suburban street, its headlights switched off. You park 2 blocks away and walk home through the neighbors' yards, heart hammering against your ribs. Local news reports a sudden, violent spike in overdoses across the tri-state area. The anchor mentions a new, incredibly pure product hitting the streets, marked with a faint blue tint. You know exactly what causes that tint, a slight impurity in the acetone wash that you decided wasn't worth the time to fix. You lock yourself in the bathroom, staring at your pale, flat reflection in the mirror. You are no longer a desperate father trying to save his family. You are the architect of a plague. The burner phone vibrates on the bathroom counter, a harsh buzzing that shatters the silence. A text message arrives with a clear, high-resolution photo of your house taken from the street. You delete the message, splash cold water on your face, and prepare for the next cook. A new strain hits the south side of the city. It burns clean, prices out the competition, and steals the market overnight. The lead enforcer drops a plastic evidence bag onto your pristine workstation. He doesn't say a word. You run a mass spectrometry test on the rival sample. The readout is terrifyingly precise. Whoever cooked this wasn't an amateur working out of a motel bathtub. This is industrial. This is someone with your level of education. The enforcer points a thick, scarred finger at the readout. He demands a higher yield, a faster cook, and 99% purity. You explain the thermodynamic limits of the synthesis. You draw diagrams on the chalkboard to prove that rushing the process will cause a catastrophic failure. A heavy, matte black pistol is set deliberately over your chalk diagrams. The laws of physics are no longer an acceptable excuse. You realize you are not a vital asset anymore. You are a tool that is currently underperforming, and broken tools get replaced. You rewrite the synthesis protocol. You bypass the secondary cooling phase, replacing it with a highly unstable catalytic reduction. The industrial centrifuges scream like dying animals under the increased RPMs. The warehouse vibrates with kinetic violence. You seal yourself inside a heavy hazmat suit. The air inside the mask tastes stale and smells of your own nervous sweat. The armed guards retreat to the outer loading dock. Even men who kill for a living know better than to stand near a boiling, pressurized tank of methylamine. Pushing the pressure gauge past the red line feels like pulling the pin on a grenade and holding it closed. One microscopic fracture in the glass lining means instantaneous immolation. Your hand trembles as you adjust the primary intake valve. A high-pitched hiss of caustic steam escapes a stressed pipe joint. You close your eyes, bracing for the flash of white heat. You think of your daughter's hospital room, quiet and safe, miles away from this bomb. The hissing stops. The temperature plateaus exactly at the critical threshold. The liquid violently crashes into a solid state. You pull the first tray from the accelerated press. It is terrifyingly heavy. The new product has no blue tint. It is completely, flawlessly transparent, resembling shattered shards of pure ice. Lethal perfection. The enforcer tests the batch, his dead eyes widening just a fraction. He racks the slide of his pistol and makes a phone call. You drive home at dawn. On the horizon, a thick pillar of black chemical smoke rises from the south side of the city. You just won the market war. Federal task forces don't move based on hunches or rumors on the street. They move when the financial footprint becomes too large to ignore. It wasn't the chemical purchases, it was the sudden, massive influx of cashier's checks paying off your medical debts. The brilliant chemist forgot how banking algorithms work. Unmarked black vans gather 3 miles away from the laundromat. Tactical teams load breaching charges and chamber rounds in complete, disciplined silence. You are weighing the final yield of the week when the heavy steel doors blow inward with a concussive shockwave that shatters every glass beaker in the room. Dust and pulverized concrete instantly fill the warehouse. Stun grenades detonate in rapid succession, painting the walls in blinding, stroboscopic flashes. You scramble backward on your hands and knees. The tray of pure crystal you were weighing crashes to the ground, scattering millions of dollars into the dirt. Men in heavy olive body armor with DEA plastered across their chests swarm the floor, green laser sights piercing the chemical haze. There is a protocol for this. You memorized it 100 times. But under the deafening, rhythmic crack of assault rifles, your nervous system simply shuts down. You dive violently beneath the stainless steel vat just as the cartel's lead enforcer opens fire on the federal agents from the catwalk above. Hot brass casings hit the concrete like metallic hail. A stray bullet punctures a pressurized industrial coolant line, spewing freezing white gas into the firefight. You crawl through the freezing vapor, blinded by the fog, feeling your way blindly toward the emergency maintenance hatch behind the generators. Heavy combat boots stomp inches from your face. A tactical unit moves past you in the fog, hunting for survivors in the chemical haze. If they take you alive, the cartel will execute your family before the first deposition. If they kill you, your family starves. Surrender is not a mathematical option. You force the rusted maintenance hatch open, scraping your hands raw, and slip your body into the narrow, suffocating ventilation shaft. The shaft is pitch black, smelling of dead rats, machine oil, and decades of accumulated, undisturbed desert dust. You drag yourself through the claustrophobic metal tunnel until the grating gives way, and you tumble out into the blinding, merciless midday sun. Sirens wail from every direction. Heavy tactical helicopters chop through the dry air above, kicking up dust storms as they search for runners. You have nothing left, no money, no laboratory, no cartel protection, just the ruined clothes on your back and the chemical formula locked inside your head. You run toward the distant highway, your lungs burning, the sharp, acidic smell of the product permanently baked into your skin. The warehouse burns intensely behind you, a multi-million-dollar empire reduced to black ashes, twisted metal, and federal paperwork. You rent a room at a cash-only motel under a false name. The neon sign outside buzzes like an angry hornet against the window pane. The local news shows the lead enforcer's mugshot. The anchor details the seizure of the laundromat, reporting 3 dead and 0 arrests. You should feel relief that the violent enforcer is gone. You should feel terror that the feds are looking for the chemist. Instead, you just feel an overwhelming, heavy emptiness. Power vacuums in the underworld never last long. When a wolf dies, the pack doesn't mourn. They simply fall in line behind the next set of teeth. A man in a sharp gray suit sits in the single plastic chair in your room. He didn't knock. He simply picked the lock while you were in the shower. He doesn't hold a gun. He holds a digital tablet. He casually lists your daughter's new school schedule, your wife's grocery habits, and the exact balance of your hidden accounts. You don't try to run. You sit on the edge of the stained mattress and wait for the instructions. The new management is corporate. They don't use abandoned laundromats or tattooed enforcers. They use shell logistics companies and men with MBAs. You are transported in the back of a refrigerated delivery truck. The cold numbs your fingers, matching the temperature of your blood. The new facility is an underground bunker beneath a legitimate manufacturing plant. Sterile. White, completely silent. They give you a pristine new hazmat suit and a badge with a barcode instead of a name. You are no longer a person, you are a living piece of laboratory equipment. You used to cook to save your family. Now you cook to keep them oblivious. The lie has become the only truth that matters. You calibrate the massive glass reactors. The process is entirely automated now, requiring only your oversight and your proprietary chemical adjustments. The product flows out in industrial quantities. It is shipped in legitimate medical crates hidden in plain sight, distributed across 3 continents. The men in gray suits watch you from behind reinforced glass. They don't speak to you. They track your heart rate, your efficiency, and your yield on digital monitors. There is a strange comfort in the absolute loss of free will. When every choice is made for you, you no longer have to carry the weight of guilt. You stare into the spinning centrifuge. The liquid inside is perfectly clear, violently spinning into the poison that will destroy 1,000 lives today. The money continues to flood into offshore accounts. The hospital bills are paid, the college fund is full. The family is safe, protected by the very monster you became. You look at your reflection in the polished stainless steel of the mixing vat. The face looking back is completely blank, stripped of all humanity. You are 31 years old. You died in a dirty desert warehouse. Whatever is left in this white room is just a machine that makes glass.